Imagine being in the middle of the ocean on an aircraft carrier with thousands of grown men to feed every single day. With limited resources and time in hand, what a strenuous task would that be? But this is the reality for culinary staff across the globe on a daily basis. Ever imagined how their day looks like? Join us today as we take you through a day of a culinary chef and the process of preparing over 17,000 meals a day. The culinary staff members include hundreds of cooks and food experts to ensure there is no shortage in staff to complete this mountainous task. To top it all off, it is also necessary to maintain good hygiene and a consistent standard of the dishes throughout the entire tenure. Anyone who has the most remote idea about cooking would realize that maintaining a consistent standard of food in terms of taste and quality is extremely hard while preparing meals in thousands. But where do they get their grocery supplies for cooking such large numbers of meals? Restocking on an aircraft takes place on regular intervals of time, just like your groceries. But unlike your grocery list, it takes over 1,600 pounds of chicken, 350 pounds of lettuce, 20,000 cups of coffee, 160 gallons of milk, and 30 boxes of cereal to feed the 5,000 Navy sailors on board an aircraft carrier each day. Additionally, the food on board should also never cross the 2-week mark and should be used up under any circumstance. The culinary chef needs to prepare the usual breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with the infamous mid-rats for the sailors. The mid-rats is a midnight meal for the crew members who work the night shift and have a different food timetable. The night portions are similar to that of lunch and consist of leftovers from dinner and a few additions to make it a complete meal. The mid-rats have the breakfast for dinner and the dinner for breakfast. Cooking in such large amounts is no joke and requires advanced galley facilities, high-tech storage systems, efficient meal planning, mass production techniques, and quality control. Let's delve deeper into some of the staples that we mentioned here. The storage units in an aircraft carrier are massive and need a separate analysis of their own. With almost every kind of food that one can imagine all packed into boxes, an allowance would have to be left on top of the boxes to access the stock inside the storage units. These storage units are so huge that the staff need to crawl through the allowance to uncover the food they need and toss across the entrance of the freezer. Even the size of the freezers are so massive that a detailed plan of where all the boxes are stored and arranged would be put up in the door to help the culinary staff easy access to the groceries. Did you know that the walk-in freezers and dry food storages get their stocks replenished every time it enters port? Sometimes the restock is done in bulk for up to 70 days worth of food at a single go. Now let's discuss what is present inside these storage units and probably the most important component of cooking these massive meals, the groceries. The groceries that are stored could last anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. The food is stored in large freezers, and all the storage units are always filled up to their max. Designed to store copious amounts of food that would in general perish in a few days, these freezers can preserve the food safely for up to a month. But eventually, these fresh groceries run out and the chefs and sailors resort to canned and frozen foods for their meals. But the sailors get lucky if they have access to a replenishment ship. Yes, we know what's in your mind. What is a replenishment ship? As the name suggests, the replenishment ship consists of fresh supplies of groceries for Navy sailors on board and replenishes the supplies in the aircraft carrier while the ship is en route. A replenishment ship supplies a fresh batch of all the necessary groceries to the aircraft carrier every 8 to 10 days and restores about 1 million pounds worth of food and other necessary commodities. That's clearly an insane amount of food, but good quality food is definitely not the arena that the U.S. Navy tries to cut down costs, especially for its brave Navy sailors. Even the replacement ships are restocked from time to time through an underway replenishment. Restocking this is a laborious job and requires intense manpower and time. These supplies are offloaded onto the aircraft carrier via a helicopter that shuffles back and forth till the replenishment ship is emptied. These supplies are then delivered to the respective sections on the ship. Initially, as the aircraft carrier just takes off, the groceries are all fresh and their walk-in freezers look nothing short of a fresh vegetable aisle of a grocery shop. But within a matter of just a few days, the personable goods start depleting as quick as a flash. Fun fact: the U.S. Navy also has an option to get sailors to purchase groceries in the middle of the sea through a sail-through grocery store known as food sea lions. These specially come in handy when the sailors have their birthdays or some special occasion coming up. The option of having their own special table settings along with wine glasses, cocktails, and a special main course can be found on their menus. These are clearly overpriced. But who can put a price on a special birthday dinner in the middle of the ocean? However, there is another way for the Navy officers to get a delicious meal on board without breaking their banks. Many sailors reported that when the Navy plans on extending their deployment or cancel a port visitation to make up for their mess, they often deliver expensive and delicious meals like their steaks and lobster. That's a bittersweet way to enjoy some delicious food for free. But when you are in the Navy, sacrifices like this are common. Now, let's take a look at some of the advanced galley facilities. Aircraft carriers have large and refined galleys or kitchens that are furnished with appliances such as ovens, grills, deep fryers, and steamers. These facilities are staffed by trained culinary specialists who work in shifts around the clock to prepare meals for the crew. The galleys also are divided into compartments, and some of them handle a much larger volume of sailors, whereas the others handle a limited number of sailors. Did you know that there are galleys in the ship divided on the basis of whom the food is being prepared for? Even the cooks are assigned for different categories to serve different levels of sailors. That's some discrimination we bet you weren't aware of. The junior sailors eat at the general mess and don't pay any extra fees. They also don't have an alternative to pay more and enjoy a lot more food options like the officers who are ranked above them do. Meanwhile, the higher-ups pay a special fee to enjoy their own special menu and personalized cooks. However, it is the captain that gets the best service on the cruise. The captain's supply store is undoubtedly the best on the ship. Leftovers, despite being extremely common, most officers don't even get seconds. But why? The money they pay for all the fancy food that they enjoy doesn't let them enjoy seconds of their delicious meal. A sad sacrifice that all advanced naval officers need to face. The advanced menu option covers a single standard serving of meal per feeding time. The only time that an officer is allowed to have seconds is if he is absent from any of his meals. This way, his next meal will be compensated with seconds. The serving size is the same regardless of what rank the officers are in, and the quality of the food is also consistent. But the higher-ranking officers do enjoy some privileges, as they sometimes do have an advantage of being served better quality food along with larger serving sizes. Nonetheless, on some rare occasions, all the U.S. Navy sailors have steel beach picnics, where they feast on barbecued meat and a fun socializing session. Overall, cooking on cruise is no joke and requires extreme levels of dedication and hard work. Preparing 17,000 meals a day on an aircraft carrier is most definitely one of the harder jobs that exist that most of the general population don't even recognize. The culinary staff need to put in their blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that their Navy officers are well fed and healthy while at sea. It is undoubtedly a complex and challenging task. Hats off to the heroes behind these kitchens who keep our Navy officers' stomachs and hearts full. What would you do if you had to prepare 17,000 meals every single day? Do you think you would survive the task? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video to show your respect to our unsung heroes. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon so you never miss another update from us. 17,000, 400,000.